The question is not should you buy a Beta Dukes, the question is how many should you buy? Well, we've got 5 builds and a review to get on with, so let's get started. Hi, welcome back to the channel. So today looking at the Imponte Beta Dukes. This car is based on the 1969 Dodge Charger, and it's quite a good replica, but by no means perfect. Pretty old and I watched the TV series, so I can think of no more suitable way of starting this review than the General Lee, the Dixie horn and a ridiculous jump. I think it was watching this show all those years ago that made me fall in love with the shape of this car, with the styling, with the noise, and maybe it's one of the reasons why I like muscle cars so much, and the others probably that we hardly ever see them in the UK. As mentioned, Rockstar have done a pretty good job in the styling. It is instantly recognisable, but it certainly does not infringe on any copyright. The chrome all around the bottom of the car is a definite off-putter. There's also rather too much chrome at the front and a few other detailing changes. Also on the Beta Dukes, the back wheels are really pumped out right to the edge of the arches, which they're not on the real car. And funnily enough, the standard Dukes has the wheels, I would say, in a better place. But despite this, it's a good looker. I'll put all the build details in a sheet towards the end of the video, but this is the only one that's a little bit tricky, partly because of the crew colour, but mainly because of the crew emblem. More about that later. There are 2 good reasons to use the Beta Dukes over the normal cheap or free Dukes. Let's have a look at the first of those reasons, and that is to build this. 300 Dodge Chargers were wrecked during the filming of the Dukes of Hazzard, and of course that really is a bit of a tragedy. So this car here is an homage to all those cars that died to bring us our weekly dose of comedy. And it's very easy to build. It does of course require the Beta Dukes for all of these broken parts. Anyway, Daisy Duke here is just going to take it for a little drive. Details later again, but this is a very easy build to do, requiring no crew colours, emblems or whatever. And I really like this build. It sits in my television cars collection, right next to the immaculate version, and is at least as important in my eyes, I say if not more important, to make us remember. You're probably aware, but the producers of the series, they ran out of decent Chargers at the end. They were putting flyers in people's windscreens saying, "Do you want to sell?" And they were taking cars of a vaguely similar shape and doing them up to look like Dodge Chargers so they could be wrecked in the stunts. When they were running out of those, they even started using models, and I certainly remember seeing a model flying over a barn and thinking, oh my god, that is awful. We nearly broke another Charger there, didn't we? When the Rockstar designers made this car, I have no idea if this was the idea, but there are so few cars in the game you can build in a wrecked format that I have to assume that this is what they were thinking. So far, we've mainly used these cars as pieces of art or something to look at, so let's have a look now. How does the Beta Dukes drive? This is my number 1 Beta Dukes, if you like. It's got all the performance upgrades apart from the turbo, because I don't want the turbo noises. Now of course you're not buying this car for racing, and it's some way down the pack anyway, and strangely slightly further down the pack than the standard Dukes. But overall it drives pretty well. Definitely didn't brake quite as well as I was hoping, but it brakes fine. It's got decent acceleration and decent speed. It can corner well, however you can also be caught out with it flicking the tail out, and out of the 7 laps that I did, not all of those laps ended successfully. Some did end up with a crash. But 1 minute 5 and a bit, it's not too bad in the class. It's pretty good. I think what's more important is that it handles just like you would think an old Dodge Charger would handle. You want to be able to do plenty of tail out moments, of course you do, and you won't be disappointed. So overall, not competitive, but fun. And as we majestically slide through the last corner, it's time to move on to another build. Next, a somewhat spooky build, the car belonging to Blade, played by Wesley Snipes. The standard wheels are perfect for this role, the way they fit the arches, everything. We have a little scoop available, we can darken the windows, it does make this car fantastic for the role. Just bear in mind that he actually drove a 68 Charger with the round rear lights as you see here. So this is not quite as good for this role as it is perhaps as the General Lee, but hey, most garages they're parked tail in so you don't even see the backlights. And talking of 68 Chargers, you could of course have a go at building this, which is the one that chased the Mustang in Bullet. The only struggle there really will be finding the correct wheels, I think. Not one of today's 5 builds, but you could also do what I did last year and do Dom's Charger. I talked about the back wheel width before. There's a standard Dukes nearest the camera and you can see how inset those rear wheels are, which is very much more like the real car. The Beta Dukes further away has that fat wheel filling the arches, so I say it's very suitable for that sort of build. But have a look at the hood or the bonnet, and the one on the left, the Beta, has those twin inset parts. Those are on the real car, and that's one of the big reasons to pick this for lots of your builds. And of course it also has more customization. For our 4th build, something very simple, a road car. Now I've done my best to copy this particular car here, although I have not used a crew colour, just lime green, looking perhaps a bit orangey in this low sun. We unfortunately cannot have that stripe round the back. There are some stripe liveries available for the car, but they're completely wrong and out of period. However, again, a pretty simple build, and I think it looks really good and an excellent way to store this car in your 60s and 70s muscle car collections. When I first saw a Beta Dukes in standard form with the standard back wheels, I thought drag car. So needless to say, for another build I looked up, was the 69 Charger used as a drag car? And the answer was yes. Dick Landy did drag racing back in the 60s and 70s, and this is his 1969 Dodge Charger drag car. I couldn't find anything in GTA Wiki to help me, so I was so excited to find this one online, and then thrilled when I found out that this particular livery is quite obviously based on the livery from that car. I do love finding out things that aren't already in the wiki. I spent some time thinking between the green one and this one for my muscle car collection, and despite the fact it's a race car and it's going to sit in a garage with non-race cars, I'm going for this because I think this is pretty unique, to be honest. I don't suppose many people have theirs like this, although maybe they will now after watching this. The only thing I'd say about building the car is that I think the stock wheels look a lot better on the car than these wheels. However, comparing with the picture, these wheels are obviously much closer to the car's real ones, so I am going to leave them like this. I would not blame you at all for leaving it with the drag wheels on the car. Even for me there's too much to say about these builds, so I've written it all on the build sheets, and you can either screenshot them from here or I'll put them as PDFs on the Discord. Well, those are the 5 builds. Now before I sum up, please, if you've enjoyed this, it took ages to do, please do consider giving me a like and a comment. It would be really very much appreciated. To rate the car out of 5 stars, for looks I give it 4 stars. It is a bare 4 stars, to be honest with you, because of the chrome. Really, there's so much extra chrome that it really does mess the looks up a bit, but still it's instantly recognisable and I love it. For driving I give it 4 stars. Now let's be honest, as a Dodge Charger driving experience with all the tail-out moments, it's a 5-star, but overall not competitive in its class for me always means losing a star. Value for money, well, 378,000, all the different builds you can do on the car. Despite the fact there is a free one available, I still think that this is really good value for money, 5 stars. So 4, 4 and 5 stars, and like I said at the beginning, how many are you going to buy? How have you built yours and how many have you got? Do let me know down below. But otherwise, as always, thank you so much for watching.